Springtime for the Bluehawks. It's here, and we're going to feature them on this edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum. Along with the coach, Bill Taylor. Welcome back, Coach, and we're in our studio again.
We are, and this is great. I mean, this is how this should be done.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to be back at home base again and out of the Zoom world.
That's right.
We were just talking about that. That's interesting. When it works, and when it doesn't, it's bad. But this is good to be able to face each other and talk man to man and eyeball to eyeball. Well, we went on a road trip. The coach and I went up to
don't forget Bob. Bob was with us.
And our producer, Bob Glowacki. We trekked up to the Exeter High School, and we were lucky. The particular day we were there, all the teams were in tryout phase. They were all getting ready for the spring ahead. And
except for one, which was boys lacrosse.
We missed one. Yes, we did miss one team, but we'll make it up to the boys lacrosse team in a future episode. But that day we were lucky. We got to go from one sport to another. And I think what we'll do, Coach, you and I can kibitz a little later on, but let's get right down to the interviews we did with the brand new head baseball coach for the Exeter Bluehawk boys team, and that's Bruce Joyce.
You're coming in after an icon, Kevin McQueen. To my knowledge, the Exeter baseball team, going back since I've been here, had won one state championship under Dick Evans, and then Kevin had won 3. Now, were you there for all 3?
I was, yeah. Fortunately, I had come in. I got here in 2009, fall of 2008. I started here. So I coached actually the freshman team the first 2 years, and then I joined Kevin in a couple years later. So I was here for the 13, the 17, and the 18, and all the years in between. So those are fun. Every year was fun, but the championships certainly were great. Yep.
The championship years tend to live on in your memory for a long time.
They do, yeah. And personally, my son Ethan was part of the 13 team, so it was a lot of fun. And obviously that's a memory that'll never be forgotten. Not only winning the championship with the team, but having my own son on the team too, which was very special. Yeah.
Now I know it's very early, and as a matter of fact, tryouts are just beginning. But what's your outlook since you've been associated with Exeter baseball in the past? What do you have returning?
Yeah, so we have 6 seniors that are returning, and they're our only returning players to the varsity. We don't have any other underclassmen that are returning. So those 6 are going to be our leadership core, and that we feel good about that. We've got solid pitching returning amongst those 6 guys. Defensively, we're going to be very solid up the middle, I think. Again, seniors right up the middle for the most part. So when you start that way with senior leadership and solid senior players up the middle, it's a pretty good start so far. So we feel good about that. We third day of tryouts today, and we're figuring a few things out, and I think we'll be in good shape when we start filling out the roster. Yeah.
Well, the question I have for you, Bruce, is this division that you're in, and in the Seacoast in particular, you get some real good talent that you'll be going up against, Portsmouth, Winnicott, whatever. Are there any teams that you have to strategize a little differently for? Or?
Well, I think, whoever we play in Division I, we got to be ready day in and day out. I don't know if we take any, major differences amongst, who we play. I mean, got to be ready whoever we're playing. But certainly the Seacoast, as we know, talent on the Seacoast, baseball-wise and sports-wise, for that matter, has been outstanding, and that's going to continue. Absolutely going to continue. We're going to run into all the rivals, and those will be, some battles like they always are. But you can't hide in our division. There's a good team at every game you play and every day you play. You got to be ready.
your philosophy of baseball, and the reason I ask is that the gentleman I coached with, and I was a JV coach in baseball, and then and a varsity assistant. But John Walker and Dick Evans were very aggressive individuals. We would steal home if we could.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were always looking to take the extra base, that type of thing. Your philosophy on the game?
Yeah, fundamental, offensively, fundamentally, we need to be sound, and that's, small ball is kind of the term that's thrown around a lot, but I see it as just fundamental baseball. Bunting, hit and run, steal, take the extra base, aggressive on the base paths. I can see us definitely being aggressive, but we just need to be fundamentally sound. Defensively, we have to play defense on the infield. There's so many plays on the infield. Obviously, we got to be strong on the mound, but that's one thing that we've always, prided ourselves here is making sure that we are practicing and repping the fundamentals and, do our best not to beat ourselves. We're going to we have an opponent that can beat us. We don't want to beat ourselves.
I would tell the kids an old adage, 3 outs an inning. Don't give them extra outs. Bad things happen when you give them an extra out.
Yeah, it's hard enough to get 3, right? Never mind 4, 5, or 6. Yep.
I was just going to ask about following Kevin McQueen, who had a successful 25-year career here at Exeter High School as leader of the Bluehawks. What did you take away from your time with Kevin?
Oh, God, I could talk forever about that. First of all, Kevin's a great friend. It was really a pleasure, an honor, really, to work with Kevin side by side as not just a coach, an assistant coach, but a friend, really. We shared a lot of the same philosophies, the same approach, the same ideas about those things. So, one of the things that always stood out about Kevin and the way he operated day in and day out was, it wasn't all about the baseball. It was more about, teaching the game. I shouldn't say it wasn't all about winning games. We obviously wanted to win. We were very competitive, but it was more about teaching the game and relationships with kids and just building a team because, we couldn't be a bunch of individuals out here. We had to make sure that we operated as a team, and he was a master of that. Really brought kids together. He had just a certain, he's got the gift of gab. He could talk to kids and really, bring kids together, talk to them one-on-one, small group, as a team. And you know what? If I can carry on a sliver of that, I'll be happy because he really was a master of that, and I took a lot of that, with me. Have taken a lot of that with me over the years.
Well, I see you got 2 great assistants with you, Coach Kane and Coach Murphy.
Yeah, great. Happy to have those guys. Coach Kane's been worked with me and Coach McQueen for a couple years, with the varsity. Murph, we're fortunate to bring him up. He was our JV coach, actually coached freshman baseball for a long time. Spent 1 year at the JVs. He would have spent the COVID year at the JVs, but spent 1 year there. And honestly, one of the most important things I thought when I was putting the staff together was to bring Murph with us. I really wanted him with us up here. He's got a great relationship with a lot of these kids currently. He sees a lot of kids come through the middle school, so that helps. And aside from that, he's a soldier. He's going to work and work and work, and he shares the same philosophy, the same approach, the same ideas about staying on track and doing things right. So being an example, yeah. So those 2 guys, couldn't ask for 2 guys to start my head coaching career. 2 better guys than those guys to start with, yeah.
I was just going to say, this is going to be an exciting season. We hope the weather cooperates this year. We get things off on April 11th like it should. Now, what does the schedule look like this year?
Yeah, so it's a full schedule. Last year we played, we weren't able to play everybody. Right. It was kind of a cluster type of schedule, but, yeah, we're playing, all the teams across the board in Division One. We do open on April 11th, hopefully. Here at home against Timberlane is our opener. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. We'll have, hopefully the weather cooperates. This has been a bonus to be out here this early, and we'll hopefully, see it continue.
Well, good. Keep those guys warmed up and ready to go. We're looking forward to a great season ahead for the Bluehawks, and congratulations.
Thanks, Sherm. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
we wish you nothing but good luck, and
Very
go
good.
get them.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay.
Thanks, Sherm. All right.
The new head baseball coach of the Exeter Bluehawks, Bruce Joyce, and well, he's got a good background, having been with a 25-year veteran of the Bluehawks, Kevin McQueen, and I was there. Kevin started with the Bluehawks. My son was on the team as a pitcher back in, was it '96, and he had a successful program with Timberlane, and then came to Exeter for the Bluehawks. And a couple of shaky years, but Kevin took everything under control and built the program up, and had a very successful 25 years at Exeter High School. And now Bruce, it's his turn to take over the reins.
Bruce, very well spoken, great individual, and we wish him nothing but the best.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he'll do a fabulous job.
He will. One thing we've noticed that over the past years, kids are diversified in how they play sports. They don't necessarily concentrate on any one sport. They kind of try to spread it out. So they're lucky. They've got a good, talented team, baseball team, and then another team you were fortunate enough to interview the coach of, right down to the other field, Kristen Morissette.
Yes, this is the girls' softball team, and boy, things are optimistic for the girls' softball team, as we will hear. And Kristen, great coach. She's been there for a while, and just does a fabulous job.
Well, let's run that interview with Kristen Morissette, head coach of the girls'
Coach
softball.
Taylor, glad to have you here on this nice sunny day with no wind, which is great.
Well, isn't it nice to be outside to start the season?
It is. It's probably last year I think we were in the gym to start, so it's great to be out. It was a little cold on Monday and Tuesday. The wind was howling, but again, to be outside using the real softballs, having lots of room, it's been great. And today the sun's shining, no wind. It's a little bit warmer. Tomorrow there's going to be some winter weather, so we'll be inside for the first time, which isn't bad for the opening of the preseason.
Now, we heard that baseball begins the 11th, if I'm correct. Do you begin the same day?
Yes, we are at Timberlane on Wednesday, and our first home game is Monday. We're at Timberlane. Wednesday is our first home game against Nashua South.
And how many young ladies do you have returning?
Varsity, we have 11 returners.
Ooh.
We had all three pitchers are back on the varsity. Pretty much the whole infield. I have right now three seniors, and the rest are mixed in with the sophomores and juniors. But we started about 4 freshmen last year, so they're all back, as well as 2 or 3 juniors and sophomores. They're all back as juniors, and then 3 seniors that have seen time.
So have you already cut down your team, or are you still dealing with cuts?
We haven't. We're still trying to make our teams. But we're just going with the 11 returners. We're hoping to get 3 to 5 more to round out the varsity roster, and we have some good talent in all 4 grades this year, so it's very exciting.
Well, it isn't often that you get all 3 of your pitchers returning, because as we know, softball can sometimes be a ball strike game.
Correct, and our pitchers throw strikes. I'm fortunate. I have 1 junior pitcher that's returning, 2 sophomore pitchers that are returning, but then also 3 sophomore pitchers in the program that also throw strikes. So in total, that's I think 6. No, 5. 6. 5 or 6 pitchers that are all underclassmen. So they'll be back again next year. But we're excited for this year as well.
How about hitting?
We have some hitters. Let me tell you, we can put the ball in play. We got some power hitters. We got girls that hit for contact. I got some speed. it's an we're exciting. It's going to be a tough year though, because Concord's loaded, Salem's loaded, Winnicott's always tough, Londonderry's tough, but we're very excited with the group we have back this year.
So, needless to say, in talking to you, we're excited, and prospects look pretty good for a winning season and to make the tournament.
Yes, and usually I'm not that optimistic
Right.
at the beginning. I like to be a little bit like, we're the underdogs. We don't, we don't know what to expect. But with what we have coming back, it is exciting, and the girls are excited. They've put the work in the off season. Between on their own in the weight room, going to hitting, going to pitching, and different things. So they were psyched once March 21st hit.
Well, we hope for nothing but great things for Exeter softball. Congratulations, Coach. And how many years has this been that you've been the varsity softball coach?
A lot. I think this is I think it's the beginning of year 26.
Wow.
So I started in '96 when I was about 10. That's how old I was coaching.
That's what I thought. I thought you were like a child prodigy.
Yeah, but '96. So I think this is the 26th or beginning of 27th. One of those.
Well, congratulations on being here. We hope nothing but great things for the Exeter softball team, and we look forward to seeing how the results are.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for being here.
Another successful program. We'll be using that phrase a lot today. And like you said in the interview with Kristen, they're just going to keep rolling. She's got a fine-tuned machine there.
Yes, she does, and great person. I've known Kristen through the years, and
And we got to keep.
softball's on the rise.
Yeah, exactly. And we were fortunate that day. Again, we're featuring all the spring sports that were having their day up at Exeter High School. We just happened to pick the day where they were all up there, except for one, the boys lacrosse team. We'll get to them again, like I said at the beginning of the show. But today, we wandered down the field from the softball to the track, and the track teams, both the boys and girls track teams were going through their warm-ups and exercises, and so we were fortunate enough to interview both those coaches at the same time, Laura Smith and Nate Leveille. Let's run that one.
Track and field has been a very popular and successful program. How are things looking so far?
We're off to a good start. There's no snow on the track. That's always a plus, right? And the weather's not too bad. It's always really windy out here. We have our first meet coming up April 12th. We've got a tri-meet with Portsmouth and Spalding. We've got really strong girls coming back this year. Our senior class is really strong. It's nice for them to have a regular season this year. Last year we were running wearing masks, and that's not fun for anyone.
So if we have a semblance of a normal year for both boys and girls track, how do you get these teams in shape? How do you get what's the secret again? I'm ready for the season.
Well, Nate took him to the hill the other day.
Really?
Yeah, it's good to get back to normal in terms of having a normal schedule this year. We're back to having our tri-meets during the week and big invitationals on the weekend. So we could kind of go back to our old training methods that have, worked for us over the past few years. With that, also, our numbers are excellent this spring. I think we're around 120 combined. So, we're going to have a bunch of young new faces that will figure out where they fit best, and like Laura said, we have a lot of really good returning pieces as well, so we're encouraged.
Well, track, how can you define the popularity of track? Because track has always been a popular sport. The numbers have always been great, and year after year we've turned out some tremendous athletes.
Yeah, I think the best way to kind of summarize that is, and this is the sales job I do in the building all the time, is I know that there's only a handful, maybe a half dozen kids who are track kids. And then there's a whole bunch of other athletes that want to get better at their respective sports. And, they are, all the variety of events in track and field allows them to kind of work on different skills that will help them in their own disciplines or their own sports that they really want to specialize in. So that all comes together and we all work hard, and those pieces hopefully line up well so that we have, a successful season and do really well at the state championships.
The other thing is that these are the nicest kids in the building, I think. Every year, I've been here doing this for over 20 years. They're always the nicest kids in the building. They have fun together. They have fun being outside. They support each other, and it's just a great environment to be in.
What I love about track and field is that you're going after your personal best.
Yes.
You're not necessarily going after another team or another person. You're trying to do yourself one
you
better.
can be the slowest person on the team,
Right.
and if you consistently improve week by week, you've had a successful season.
Right.
And that really is truly one of the greatest things about it.
And I assume the camaraderie between the boys and the girls is good.
My niece told me this is where you come to get a boyfriend. I don't know if that's true, but I don't know.
Well, and Laura and I and our coaching staff, we're kind of like a fluid coaching staff in that we all work with all the kids. We all work with a variety of different events. And just like that, all of our kids train together. Our boys and girls sprinters train together. Our boys and girls distance trains together. Like, we're one giant team. We're not two separate teams. And I actually think that approach has really helped us be very successful on both boys and girls sides.
Yes, and we're constantly communicating with each other throughout cross-country season, throughout indoor season, throughout spring season, whether, one of us, because Joe Scazatelli should really probably be over here. He's our distance coach and cross-country
Get the
guru.
stopwatch right.
He's
Yes.
over there, but we constantly communicate with each other, and I think that team approach that we take, definitely, the kids feel it too. We're a big, happy family out here.
Another successful program, 2 longtime coaches who've got it dialed in and just know how to lock in with their players.
The thing that strikes me, and I don't know if it strikes other people or not, is the amount of participants that we have in the athletic program as a whole. You're going to see the lacrosse team has huge numbers. They talked over 120 in track and field. Baseball had huge numbers. Softball had large numbers. The tennis teams had large numbers. It's a credit to the athletic department, to the athletic director, Coach Bill Ball, and to the coaches and the athletes and the parents.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. And in track and field, like I've said in the piece, of the sports, that one always intrigued me because you're going against your personal best. I mean, even if you're not a talent in baseball, basketball, football, whatever, in running especially, you're doing it your personal best. You may not be the best one out there, but you're giving it your personal best every time you go out there.
Well, actually, every event in track and field is like that.
Exactly. All right, now we got a new kid on the block, a new coach that we were able to...
She's got a great name, though.
Yeah.
First name.
Yeah, Taylor.
Yeah.
Taylor Landers. She is the new head girls lacrosse coach at Exeter High School, and we were fortunate, a busy day for her, and like you said, a lot of people going out for tryouts that day. So we got a few minutes with Coach Landers, and let's run that interview now. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here working with the girls and the team.
Well, you're the new kid on the block, so what's your philosophy to keep the girls going this year?
I'm a big fan of positivity and uplifting our teammates with kindness, but also being very competitive with each other. So getting the girls to care not just about the game, but about their teammates always brings out a higher level of play. So making sure that they have that bond and that connection, that's where I always start, and from there the wins will follow.
Exeter High has a tradition of being strong in girls lacrosse. How do you think your group, I know it's very early, how do you think your group is shaping up?
So far, it's been 3 days, and I am extremely impressed with the talent. They are making my job very difficult as we're working through tryouts, trying to get that varsity team together. But I'm confident, and I know the talent that we have, and I think with a bit of the right coaching and the approach that we're really going to surprise some of the teams this year. I have a really strong coaching staff, and I'm just excited to see what we can do with the ladies that we have on the field this year.
How many are returning this year?
we have about 16 returning players. We had 80 girls sign up for tryouts.
great.
So we are going strong, and yeah, we've got a lot of talent, and I'm excited. We've already got some college commits, so I know they're ready to step on the field and kind of prove themselves to the rest of the state.
Now, do you play, I know Portsmouth is in Division II. However, they might be one of the stronger teams around, and I mean, I was blown away when I read the amount of college commits that they have already in their program, with even people as young as sophomores.
Yes, so Portsmouth, a very strong team. We will be scrimmaging them this year. I benefit because I did play them last year, so I really got to see how they handled themselves. I know every year's new, but I know a bit what we're going up against, and I think I'll be able to prepare the girls. They're a very fast team. They know what they're doing. They have a strong coaching staff, but I think that we could definitely match their level and kind of show them, you know, we can keep up with those plays and those fast players that are committed. So.
One position is always fascinating for me is the goal. That person has to be totally laser focused. I mean, do you have a special way of keeping that person in tune in the game?
So we're really lucky. We have a lot of goalies who came out to tryouts, which is a great issue to have as a coach, having a deep bench of goalies. For me, goalie position is very mental. So as a coach, you got to make sure that they know you have their back no matter what is going on the field, that you trust them, you know that they're that leader, and you no matter what goes down in the game, you got to make sure you build them up, because it's not just about the skill, it's about making sure that they feel secure and confident in their place. They are the leader on the field when I am on the sideline, so, you know, they're my number one.
Talk about the coaching staff. You mentioned you have a real good coaching staff here and an experienced staff.
Well, I'm going to say that I'm familiar with two of them.
Okay, yes.
Brooke Kelleher was a former student of mine.
Yes.
Way back. And I coached with Terry Cookish for many years.
So yeah, we actually have two Exeter alumni on our coaching staff who both played in college at the Division II and Division III level. They're coming from a defensive background and attacker background. So I also have Katrina Peets and Brooke, along with Brooke Keller for varsity. They have a ton of knowledge. They're involved with students in their full-time jobs, so they have a passion for working with youth. So it's really just such a well-rounded group. Terry is stepping up this year. She's taking on that JV team, which again is very strong based on the amount of girls we have in our program. She's kind of showing me the ropes coming from being at Exeter for a while. She's been a great help for the transition, and she's on board with our coaching philosophies, and we're excited to kind of get together and make sure we have a consistent program starting from the ground up, so everybody's ready when they get to that point when they're making that varsity team.
And you said, you know, they both worked with students. And I guess you've worked with students also, right?
Yeah, so I am actually full-time. I work at a lacrosse club, so I'm working with youth all day, every day. I coach anywhere from pre-K up to seniors in high school, so I know what it means to work on the fundamentals and also what it means to be a top-level elite team competing nationwide and going up against teams in Maryland and working with college coaches. So my whole life is committed to working with youth athletes, especially female high school athletes. So it's a pleasure to be with Exeter, knowing that I can only expand, grow, and learn more as I go through this.
Well, we will let you get back to that practice because you've got a busy season coming up, and we'll be catching a lot of the games on Bluehawk Media. So good luck and a great season ahead for you guys.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you
Nice
all.
to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A very enthusiastic new head coach for the girls lacrosse team for the Bluehawks,
Yeah, she seems,
Taylor Landers.
yeah, very positive, very knowledgeable about her sport.
Yeah.
I think she'll do a great job, and you know, I've said that a lot, but I think the athletes at Exeter High School are very fortunate to have the coaches and that they have.
Yeah. And one thing I was going to say really relevant to it now, I think that a lot of, she mentioned positivity in that piece we just said. I think coaches have to have a different philosophy nowadays. The old, you know, well, I don't want to say anything out of line, but you know, the tough guy approach doesn't necessarily work anymore. You have to, not, you don't have to have a velvet glove either, but you have to find that compromise. You have to find that positivity, find out what that athlete is doing right, and praise him or her, not necessarily say, hey, you screwed up, and that is a big thing. I mean, we're not all perfect, and there's always room for a little improvement. So I wanted to mention that we said we didn't get to the boys lacrosse, but they have a new coach as well, another new guy in the block. That's Matt Brewster, and we will get to Coach Brewster in a future program. But he replaced Jerry Hawley, who had been there for years. And any comments about that program in the past?
Well, I do know that it was very successful. They had quite a few players go on to college careers. And like you said, I believe they might have got to the finals last year, or they got to the Final Four. I'm not positive, but they had a very successful season, and they beat some of the powers and ended up losing to Bishop Girton to end their season, who was again, another power. They were able to beat Pinkerton in the tournament to get to Girton, and Pinkerton has been a traditional power in boys lacrosse forever, since I came in the 70s. So
we will touch base with Matt Brewster in the future. And good luck to the lacrosse team as they're going through their tryouts and getting things set for the spring. Now, the final tour, or final stop on the tour, was at the tennis courts at Exeter High School, and we were able to touch base with the boys and girls coaches, and I don't know if you want to introduce the girls coach and then.
Well, no, because I think we talked to the boys coach first.
That's right, we did. I'm sorry, we did do that, and that, of course, is Justin Tardiff, and then after that, we spoke to Jeff Simard.
Jeff Simard.
All right, so let's roll those interviews with the tennis team coaches.
What I want to ask you right off is, it's early in the season, obviously tryouts and whatever, but what do you look for in your tennis players?
Yeah, I mean, just to start off, first couple of practices, just look for guys that are coachable, who are willing to work hard, and coming in with that right attitude is really key in that first couple of weeks. And then, as we get into week 3 and week 4, then we really start focusing on our tennis skills and, those other components to it.
Now, you got a big turnout I see here today. Is this the tryout period?
Yes, this is. So we have 30 kids, which is really large. So we're really happy with our numbers again. We've been consistently, since I've been here, we've been 20 plus, every single year, which is great for our program.
Excellent.
Boys tennis has traditionally been strong here at Exeter High. What do you attribute that to?
That's a good question. I think we're fortunate in that a lot of our kids play in the off season. I think that's a big component to it. So that really helps. That I would say at least 10 or 12 of our guys, back from this year, have played this winter indoors, have the ability to, have the resources to. So that's a big advantage for us. And I think just our consistency in our practices has been really important as well. The kids understand that there's expectations. They got to be at practice. They got to work hard. And I think overall that's been really great for us.
Now, how many years have you been the boys tennis coach?
This is my 12th year going on, so it's been an enjoyable 12 years.
Great.
I've been really appreciative of coaching here. Coach Ball has been great as our AD, and the kids have been awesome.
Teams in the Seacoast, in particular, that you go up against, anyone that stands out, or any other teams in the state for that matter, in Division I?
Yeah, Division I, Bedford's the top dog. I think they've won 10 in a row and the D1 level, so they're always the top dog in that end. We usually have some really good matches with Winnacunnet and then with Portsmouth when we play them. Portsmouth is D2, so sometimes they're on our schedule, sometimes they're not. Last couple of years, Dover has really improved a lot, and we beat them in a playoff match last year, 6-3, which was really close. So there's a couple of good schools, locally.
When will you start your ladder?
Yeah, that's what the kids want to know. That's what the kids want to know. We usually take a week or so to get practice outside, start doing, getting into our routine. And then usually week 2 we start getting into some challenge matches and stuff and start figuring that out.
And how many will be on the final cut for the team?
Yeah, so we'll look at to try to take 24 or so. With our 6 courts that we have here, that works out well with 4 guys per court. Anything above that is really tough, to manage with one coach, and then 6 guys ultimately will then play varsity.
Jeff, being an Exeter veteran, like I know you are,
Yes.
I always had gloves with me when I even coached baseball, always, because you never know what the weather's going to be.
Yeah, well, we came out about 15 minutes ago and the sun was shining and it was actually not windy, and here we are, cloudy and windy.
Well, how many returning players do you have this year?
Actually, we didn't have any seniors last year, so all of our players are returning. All of our players are returning, and we have about 10 additional freshmen, so we have a very large team, about 35 kids.
And you'll keep
All of them.
all of them.
I'm keeping all of them, yep.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, we'll make it work on the courts. It can get kind of crowded, but yeah, I figured why not.
And you'll have a varsity JV team?
Yeah, and we'll probably end up running it, so I'll do the JV for an hour, and then I'll do the varsity for an hour and a half. So the practices will go a little longer, but we'll get all the kids on the court.
Who was the power in girls tennis?
On our team?
No, in the state.
In the state, Dover, definitely. Dover and Bedford, both.
That's right, Vitco.
Yeah, the Vitco girls, and definitely Bedford is on a different plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just talking to Justin, that's what he said. He said they're just head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, they are. I mean, I think it's a good test for our team because sometimes we'll show up and we'll be the Bedford for them. So it's good to have a Bedford for us to kind of, keep us honest.
And when do you open?
April 4th, we open here against Concord.
Okay. And any sneak preview on Concord?
I have to go back and look because we didn't play them last year.
Okay,
and
that's
of course
right.
we didn't have the
Yeah.
season the year before, so I've only got my freshmen who are now seniors data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's a question that all the girls want to know.
Sure.
When do you start your ladder?
Well, we're starting that this weekend. Ideally,
you
we're going to
really?
get some challenge matches in if we can sneak in through the rain and start to kind of see where people are going to fall.
Yeah, because April 4th is going to come quick.
It comes quick. Yeah, next week is pretty much going to be just challenge matches and getting them match ready.
Well, as you mentioned, Coach, just a few minutes ago, you can see the numbers in the different programs, and right there, you saw the big turnout for tennis. And wow, this is a great thing.
It is, and you commend Coach Simard, who is going, as a varsity coach, you really want to work with your varsity athletes, but at the same time, he's willing to extend practice to work with a JV group, and that just speaks highly of him and of his program.
Well, I was impressed.
And 24 kids, again, on the boys' team that's a lot of people to work with.
It's a great turnout. And,
Yeah.
Hey, I look at those kids and think back when I could play tennis. Now it's pickleball. We'll get into the pickleball tournament sometime. Anyway, but thank you to all the coaches
Yes.
and for the folks up there at Exeter High School for allowing us to, and our producer, Bob Glowacki, who's behind the scenes here, who especially track and field was his specialty. And I noticed he cut that out of the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bob holds one of those records up there in the track and field. So, hey, I hope it stays forever, Bob.
The other thing that we really appreciate the coaches giving us their time, because they were in the middle of practice.
Right.
And we went in, and they did know we were coming.
Yeah.
They knew we were around, but to give us the time that they did
Right.
Was great.
Yeah, we were trying not to be a distraction to either them or to the teams, because when you bring a camera out, everybody's like, who's that? Who's that? Channel 9, one of the coaching conglomerates that goes around and looks for college kids and all whatever. Well, thank you to all of them again, and thanks to you for joining me up there that day. That was fun.
That was fun.
A good road trip.
That was fun.
We need to do another road trip soon. We're working on something. We don't want to spill the beans yet, but you and I are going on a road trip.
Okay.
All right. I want to touch base with other sports with you, since we've, haven't had any direct contact like this for a while. Let's just run down the gambit. The baseball season will happen next week, the 7th. It actually gets underway. The Red Sox travel down to Brooklyn to take on the Yankees. And so, what do you think?
I think it's the Bronx.
Oh, the Bronx, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking the Dodgers, yeah. I'm falling back into that trap. Yeah, the Bronx, sorry about that. The Bronx Zoo, that's right. So what's your take on how that was settled, the situation between players and owners, and then your feelings on this year's Red Sox?
Well, I don't know my feeling on this year's Red Sox yet. I would say, first of all, I'm happy to see baseball is back. I enjoy baseball. I like baseball. It would be nice if we could complete games in under 3 hours, because I don't think I can devote 3+ hours of my attention to watching a baseball game. However, that being said, the Red Sox, I think it's going to boil down to pitching. I don't know if they have enough. I think Rich Hill, the addition of Rich Hill will be great. They're putting a lot of, it's going to be put up or shut up time for Pavetta and Tanner Houck. And they were successful last year. Hopefully they will continue to be successful. I'm not worried about Evaldi. I think Whitlock is going to end up doing the most for the team by being a reliever, with the idea that he can go long or short. Hopefully Barnes rebounds to be the closer. But, you know, they can hit. They've shown that they can hit. They can field. Trevor Story, I think, will be a positive addition. And on the fact that he's playing at Fenway instead of Colorado, I don't think will matter, because he's a dead pull hitter.
Right.
And he'll pepper that wall.
And I was happy with that acquisition, and I'm glad they didn't do a real foolish deal, because they've got 2 guys that they have to lock down. They've given them,
I agree.
you know, their conditional arbitration numbers, both Xander Bogaerts and Rafi Devers. So they've got contracts coming up in the next year or 2, and that's where I think they should try to concentrate that money, you know, before they just go out and needlessly spend $300-400 million on a couple of players. The other thing, the Celtics, they've all of a sudden turned the switch on.
The Celtics they've been looking great. The injury to Rob Williams is going to really, I hope it doesn't affect them, but that remains to be seen. I really don't think he's going to come back and play before the playoffs are done. They'd have to go real deep into the playoffs for him to even have a chance. With a torn meniscus, I think he's done for the season. You know, I don't know. What turned the switch for them was team defense. And boy, they have looked great defensively. You know, Marcus Smart and the crew, along with Williams. See, Williams gives them that intimidating presence inside.
Right.
And, you know, can Tice do that? I don't know. Al Horford has certainly bounced back, and, you know, Tatum and Brown, the accolades are there for both of them. They're just great players. So, don't know. Can they commit to team defense? Let's hope. I mean, for them to be down four starters and go to Toronto the other night and take the Toronto Raptors to overtime, where the Celtics had a chance to win in regulation, hopefully bodes well.
And one thing I don't think we have to worry about is a Celtics-Lakers matchup.
No.
That ain't happening.
You know what?
Wow.
I would not be surprised if the Lakers don't make the playoffs. San Antonio is breathing down their neck. LeBron now is out with an ankle. Davis hasn't returned.
Yeah.
You know, the Lakers, idea of signing veteran with no young legs
Yeah,
has kind of come back to bite him.
fighting. Bruins.
I'm positive about the Bruins. However, I didn't like seeing them get blown out by Toronto last night. It depends. You never know how they're going to be in the net, I guess is the big thing. Swayman has had, he's a possible rookie of the year. I think he's played well. Olmark has played well. But neither of those two goalies are playoff tested. I think the trade acquisition that they made at the deadline with the guy from Anaheim, Lindholm, is a good pickup. He's a good defenseman. I think he can play. Who knows? I don't know.
And the other subject, and it's near and dear to both of us, is NASCAR. It's early, but
I will say this, you know what? This has been, I was talking to my wife the other night, and I said, this has been the most exciting first few races of the season. I always enjoy, I'll tell you, that race the other day at Atlanta Motors was fantastic. The road course race was great. It went down to the last lap. What has happened with the new car is it's evened the playing fields. There are no more haves and have-nots. Now, and if all those guys are good drivers, that's the thing. But in the past, a good driver with bad equipment couldn't compete with a good driver and real good equipment. Now the equipment issues are balanced out, and you're seeing that. You're seeing people like Denny Hamlin, if the playoffs were today, he wouldn't make it.
right.
Harvick is another one. He isn't, he's...
No, I know the young guns are out there.
They are, and it's been great racing. It's been very competitive. The day, hopefully, of where you watch one guy get up in front and he stays there for the entire race are pretty much, I hope, over.
Yeah,
Because that's not racing. That's just watching a guy drive around
and that's the biggest complaint people say.
Right.
It's just guys turning left all the time.
Yeah,
I didn't want to bypass them, but bring up the Patriots real quick.
Interesting what they've done in the off season, but don't forget, the Patriots off season won't be done until final cuts are made out of training camp. That's the way I look at it. I think Belichick, he has numbers slotted for each position that he's going to pay salary-wise, and he doesn't deviate. He's going to find that players that will plug in. So am I worried about the Patriots? No. I think the Patriots are going to be very competitive now that they've got their quarterback, Mac Jones.
Right, and even though some of these other teams are shifting quarterbacks and making big moves, and Brady comes back, I don't know if I had asked you what your opinion of that was, him coming out of retirement.
Honestly, I was surprised. I did think after watching him walk off the field when Tampa lost in the playoffs that he was going to retire. But he's not going to have the team that he's had in the past that he had 2 years ago.
Right.
What's the shocking news to me was Kansas City trading Hill.
Yeah.
There's got to be something behind that, and I don't know what it is.
It'll be interesting because it's going to Hunter Long's team, the Dolphins.
Right.
And that ought to, maybe open up some time for Hunter
Right.
end. It'll be interesting to see. 2-minute drill time. The coach and I decided we'd do a combined 2-minute drill today. Kind of a tribute to a longtime Exeter resident and a friend to us all. And the tie-in with sports is he was a coach. for the Exeter Junior Baseball League for many years of the Dodgers team, and I'm talking about Chick MacDougall. But one of the biggest accomplishments for Chick was 65 years he was part of the Exeter Brass Band. I mean, that was one of the highlights for me, to see him banging on the drum, percussionist. And it was kind of I was surprised when I heard about it, and I will encourage people. Laura Bricker did a nice article for the Seacoast newspapers, Seacoast Online, so if you want to check out her tribute to Chick. And I thought maybe as a way to pay it off today, we had a great show featuring the Bluehawks, and I know Chick was an Exeter guy and a Bluehawk.
Bluehawk supporter through and through.
Exactly. So I thought what we could do is sign off with just a little piece of the Exeter Brass Band, and in the background you'll see Chick with the bass drum. And so on behalf of the coach, I'm Sherm Chester, inviting you to join us for the next edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're very happy that you could all join us here for our third concert of the 2021 series. We look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be inside if it rains. Otherwise, we'll see you here at the bandstand. Thank you. Good night.
Be sure to subscribe to Exeter TV on YouTube and hit the bell to get notified about new episodes of the Seacoast Sports Forum and other local content. Follow the Sports Forum team behind the scenes on our Facebook and Twitter pages, and send us your game footage and photos to our email. That's seacoastsportsforum.extv@gmail.com. This is Sherm Chester inviting you to join us for the next edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum.